I've had some time to sink, for all this to sink in. I was doing this video and somebody came and sat right next to me, so I had to stop. But I just got my cast removed. My nose is extremely irritated because for my last surgery, I realized I had like an allergic reaction to adhesion, but I don't know, I've never really noticed it, so I thought it was more like one of those things that it was just that specific tape or brand or whatever. So I didn't think this would be a problem, but yeah, 7 days of that tape or that glue destroyed my skin on my nose. It's really bad. So usually they will tape it up before you leave, but because of all this, I'm gonna tape it at home. I also am doing like tests. So these are 2 different tapes that they give me. I'm doing a test on my hand in the meantime. That way I can see if one of them does cause irritation. Hopefully they don't. And I can just tape my nose when I get home. I did have a lot of scabs inside of my nose, and that's because I didn't use the saline solution enough. So use your saline, even if you don't feel like it's going through. That's one of the reasons that I didn't use it very much, was because I felt like on one nostril it wasn't really going through, so I'm like, it's not really doing anything. But definitely use it religiously. And so the scabbing, she had to take some of the scabbing off before she did anything else, because like they were covering some of my stitches, so that was not fun. And the recommendation is that when I go home, I do like a steam, like a hot shower with the steam, let it clear out my nose, add my saline, or clean it out with saline, and then tape it up. I'm also I just cleaned my nose, the outside of it, just to make sure to get rid of any of the glue that I had. I had ointment on there, but when I get home, I'm also going to clean it to make sure that my skin is nice and clean and it doesn't have any glue remaining. Yeah, it really does suck. It's pretty bad. But, and right when she like took it off, like she said something, she's like, oh, like it doesn't look good. But she was talking about that, like she's like, oh, did you like have itching? I have had a lot of itching. The thing is that my nose just got feeling like a couple of days ago, like maybe yesterday, the day before. So I just thought like, oh, like now I'm feeling my nose, and I felt itchiness, but I just thought like, oh, I have stuff on my nose, you know, so it's gonna be itchy, because my eyes were itchy just from the swelling. And when you start to heal, like you do feel a lot of itchiness. It's just like a reaction. So I didn't think too much of it. I gotta lie. I didn't think too much of it at that moment, but I did, like, I had a little bit of tube right here that was like by my corner of my eye, and I just thought it was poking, but I wouldn't try to like peel it, because I did have an inkling, like, okay, maybe the tape's making me itch, apart from everything else. So I guess just pay attention to your body if you do have any of those little weird things that maybe, I mean, like tape, right? It doesn't really affect you all the time. Just let them know. I mean, I don't know if they would like recast it or what, but yeah, it's looking kind of crazy right now. They didn't even take my pictures because they're like, we'll take that 2-week mark where you don't look like that. But anyways, that's kind of at the end of my appointment. When I got there, I got to my appointment. She brought me back in, and I was really nervous. And she's like, okay, we're just gonna start. Take off the cast first. So she gave me like this little tool that vibrates that you can like move on your rub on your clavicle or on your like chin or whatever. Like it's just vibrating, so it's kind of just telling your brain like, don't pay attention to the other parts that are hurting. I was like holding on to it real tight. So she took off the cast, and that was like it felt like I could feel the relief automatically of just like not having that pressure on my nose. So she took off the cast, and then after that, she took off the tape, and of course she like noted about the tape and the reaction that I had on my nose because of it. After that, she said, okay, now I'm gonna move to the stitches. And she starts taking them. I think I had about 6 stitches in there, but then she realizes that there's the scabs in the way. So she's like, in order to do that and to get the stents out more cleanly, I'm gonna have to take off some of these scabs. And there's a lot. So yeah, but she did, and those weren't too bad. The stitches, there's some that were like, ow, where like, wince, but not horrible, just like it does hurt, and when like that's really hard sting, if that makes sense. It did kind of suck, but the pain of just the first couple days was much worse than that. And then she once she got all that, she's like, okay, now I'm gonna take out the stents in your nose. And I thought they were little tubes, but they didn't feel like little tubes when they were being pulled out. They felt like something that kind of expanded, which I didn't look at them because they come, well, so you have been, obviously there's been boogers in your nose, there's been other crap in your nose that you haven't been able to come out. And my nose, like I said, I didn't really have space around those stents, so there was a lot up there. And I felt it oozing. It was so disgusting. I'm glad that I didn't film that part. But so she takes them out. She's like, okay, you're gonna breathe in and breathe out. So on the breath in and then on the breath out, I breathe in, and on the breath out, she takes them out. She's like, you're gonna feel like inclined to like breathe back in, right? But she's like, don't do that. She's like, we'll get it. But so she like, I don't even know what the feeling. Like, it felt good. It hurt. Not horrible, but it wasn't the best, but it was like relief, and it's only like a short thing. So she pulls it out, and you could just see stuff oozing, like stuff, there's more stuff gunk in there. And then she like uses one of the little hoses things to just suck it all up. Then you move on to the next one, and then she did the next one, and she's like, okay, let me grab that mirror for you. And I'm like, I'm not ready for the mirror. Like, I am not, because I was already like emotional, and I'm just nervous because it's a big deal, and you want your nose to look like you want it to, and there's really no going back when you remove from your nose. So yeah, they were really great. Because then another nurse came in, and they were just really great with me, like giving me time. And I'm like, guys, they're like, so she explained like all the stuff about taping and all that good stuff, which I'll show in another part of this video. But so she explained that, and she's like, okay. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I think I'm ready. I'm like, but is there a mirror that's kind of further away? Just because usually you hold it, but it's just so close, and I just felt like it'd be too much for me. So she's like, okay, is it okay like if I hold it? I'm like, yeah. So she went further away from me, and I could see, like, because she didn't really know where my face was, so I saw my forehead, right, and my eye, and then okay, I'm like, okay, I moved into it, and then I'm like, to my nose, like, I don't know what, I might cry. I can't. It was just a relief to look at myself and see myself. And that's one of the reasons I came to this doctor, right? Because of his work. And I trusted him. But at the beginning of this video, or recording this journey, I mentioned that like it's kind of been engraved in me growing up, that negative thought, like, oh, the worst is always going to happen, the worst this, and that little part of me, was still in there. And it's hard to see your nose, as I've mentioned, when it's taped up and all that. And it was just nice. It was nice to see me, because that was the goal. I wanted to look like myself, just obviously with way better breathing, and those small changes to my nose. So it felt really good. It felt really good. Like even when I was like, I'm like, oh, I felt like nostrily, but even now, like my nose tip is still gonna go down. Like there's so much swelling. Like the swelling is still gonna like shrink. Because right now, yeah, it's really swollen. But look at that. Like I don't have a bump at all. It is pretty much straight. So even if it doesn't go down, even if the tip doesn't go down anymore, like I'm happy with this. But it's still going to, so it's just going to be a little bit more parallel to the ground, which is how I described it at first. But yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. And now I'm waiting. My brother left because he thought it was going to take a little bit longer. Usually these appointments are a little bit long. So they left. I can't even do a sad face. So my face, my lips, I still can't really smile because my nerves are just, I don't know what the word is, but they're doing their thing and they need to heal. So I'll be able to smile, which I don't really need to smile. I am planning to wear a very thin mask to work. Because I have video calls, and obviously, like, if I'm still irritated and I still have this bruising, like, I don't want people asking me. I don't want people, I don't know, like, looking. So, and now that I'm ashamed of it, I just feel like I want to do it at my own time, at my own pace. It's my nose, it's my body, so I don't need to explain it to anybody. I did it. I honestly never thought that I would, like, feel like, well, I like half, you know, like deep down, it's one of those things where you want to do it and you think you will. Like I did think, like I'm gonna, you know, but I've been wanting this for a long time, and it was like deep inside you also think like, okay, I probably won't do it. Like you don't think you'll actually do it just because it's a big step. It's a big deal.